two-way video for rural schools by Michael Rostratter. Moving out of the Bay Area into Idaho, I've been highly interested in the schooling system for small town communities. In the Treasure Valley, this is not so much of an occurrence, but if you were to drive an hour in any direction from Boise, you would most likely find yourself in a rural community. The term rural school seems to have endless meanings or restrictions for a location to maintain this term. But to make matters easier, I will define it later on in this presentation. Whether it be due to local or even economical restrictions, two-way interactive video-style school is a new approach that could solve the hardship of educating our students in Idaho that live in rural communities. My thesis statement is as follows. Rural schools face a number of obstacles that their students encounter when trying to graduate. Whether it be poverty, substance abuse, or low graduation rates must improve in rural Idaho. By putting in an innovative and diverse educational plan for these at-risk students, the state will have a specialized, tailored academic path towards success, ultimately leading to their high school graduation. Benefits of two-way video learning. First, it's a more stimulating form of presenting the material. By having various views, angles, or even improved sound quality, even learners that face challenges or disabilities could benefit from this style. Opportunity that is presented. With advances in the tech world, schools can get this equipment at a moderate cost. The common perception is that this is too expensive and it's not doable. That just isn't true. Same, if not better, access to information. With furthering tech, there's many grants and public relation aid where prior to this there was a problem, but now there's more assistance and there's more willing to help these type of projects. Lastly, technological advances in history. Even at the beginning, there's always been technology in education. If you think back a couple decades ago, it was thinking about how to get computers into the education world. Then it was thinking about trying to get PowerPoints, video presentations, blogs, vlogs, and things of that sort. As you see, technology continues to evolve in education, and by doing this would give these particular students an upper hand. Reasons to switch to two-way video. Rural schools in the southwest region of the United States, like Oklahoma, Texas, or New Mexico, implemented this in the rural school districts and have found success. In Idaho, 11% of students living in a rural population in Idaho do not earn a high school diploma. That is far higher than what the percentage is in urban Idaho. The poverty rate in rural Idaho is 13.7%. And this is a huge connection because students of poverty have just an 18% of graduating high school. Substance abuse is more prevalent in rural Idaho than in urban Idaho. With substance abuse, there's a direct connection to education success. When a student is facing a substance abuse themselves or their parents perhaps, the home life is not the same, and this takes away from the focus of the studies. Lastly, students are more used to using two-way video systems, and it is no longer a foreign technology. Due to COVID-19, things like FaceTime, Google Hangout, and Zoom sessions have become more appropriate and more regular in these students' lives. Now, introducing this as a way to go to class is not as intimidating, and the student will approach with eagerness to improve themselves. What is a rural school? Rural schools, as defined by Idaho, are schools that have fewer than 20 enrolled students. mile, or school districts within a county that contain less than 25,000 residents. Substance abuse factors in rural areas. Low education attainment. Where there's substance abuse, there's low education attainment. This is a factor that plays into the route toward the student's path to graduation. If constantly being surrounded by this, they're constantly distracted. Now, by having a home learning system, they're less prevalent to engage in this when at school. Poverty. Poverty is a huge factor with high school students. In Idaho, it's more prevalent for a student to be in poverty, where they are in Idaho versus urban Idaho. Unemployment. Unemployment is higher in rural Idaho than it is in urban Idaho, and this creates an inconsistency in the student's life, and this can take away from the focus towards their studies. Lastly, high-risk behaviors. Due to the addiction withdrawals, this can create risky behaviors that can include law enforcement or otherwise a danger to the student. The success of two-way video teaching. This has been effectively used in 14 school districts. In those school districts, teachers, students, and administrators that experience this method went in with doubt. After experiencing the process of two-way video teaching, they left as strong advocates. Now, this is direct details in people that have experienced this type of learning and have talked about how much of an impact it was and how it was beneficial. Next, there's no educational limit to remote learning. Each subject has the same opportunities by learning online as it would if the learning were to take place in the classroom. Whether it be English, science, or math, there would be nothing hindering the student from getting the same education as a student who is sitting in a classroom. The argument could be made that their learning would be enhanced. Lastly, this style tends to be flexible with scheduling and also adds to students being proficient with technology use. The schedule is flexible because you don't have to necessarily be in an 8-to-3 schedule. You could create smaller classes and create longer sessions, but there would be flexibility into when the student would log in to this two-way video teaching. Also, by doing this, a student would get proficient use with technology, and this would help them with furthering their studies. Drawbacks to two-way video teaching. Finding teachers that can disperse educational material through an online video class session can be challenging. They are in short supply, and teachers that are trained are not normally trained to teach in an online remote style. Isolated learning for students in a rural environment can be negative to their overall high school experience. It is shown that depression is higher in rural parts of Idaho, and that where it's connected is to isolation. If the student does not have that consistency of going to school and seeing classmates, this would be something taken away from them. Connection to the text. When trying to find what could connect my text to this topic, I came across the term learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is the perception acquired through negative experiences that effort has no effect on outcomes. It is clear that in rural Idaho, students notice the underfunding. If Idaho were to put money into a specific program into a specific program geared just for the rural areas, they would no longer feel the odds are stacked against them. Relevance to the teaching community. This is already used in a number of settings, whether it's homeschool or online summer school sessions. Technology is advancing. Next, the growth of technology and input in the classroom is growing. This will be more implemented over the country and maybe over the entire globe. By getting a jump start on this could be a trendsetter for not just Idaho, but for the modern world. Lastly, this makes a teacher more marketable. If a teacher is able to conduct classrooms online in this fashion, you would separate yourself from the rest. Wrap up. The relevance. The relevance of this is that we are in a technological world, and technology is not going away. The immediacy. The immediacy of this education is no different from classroom. If a student has a question to ask the teacher, they raise their hand and the question is answered. An enhanced learning environment. A teacher can add different effects or different factors to the learning style, which can help the student. This is a safer learning environment in case the school were to be unsafe. Lastly, this is up to date and it is an alternate approach. This is my works cited, and thank you for listening to my presentation.